Alright guys, I'm going to make a video on the Steeda lowering springs for the Fusion Sport. I've seen a couple videos and literally only 2 videos online that talk about these. One of them that kind of briefly describes installation. They show you a couple things, but in my opinion I think they left a lot out. A couple of things I want to show you. So tackling this for the first time, reading all the instructions from Steeda, seeing guys do it online in a couple videos. There's some things I want to put on this video that weren't covered by Steeda and by the other guys. Not to say the other guys did a bad job, but they just skipped over a lot of stuff that I think would have been important. So first off, on the strut mount, I want to show you when Steeda on their directions, they show you the way to align the strut mount. But when you look at the strut mount, and these are new, I replaced everything with new stuff. I'm not reusing the old stuff. If you look, let me flip this around. Okay, so on the actual mount right here, there's 2 notches, and this is the flat side of this mount. On your bearing, there's a little tab right here. That tab and that notch line up just like that, and then it's on the center of the flat part, meaning so it should line up perfectly with those holes. So if you flip it over, sorry my camera angle's bad, the tab on the bearing, the notches on the strut mount all should line up on the middle of this hole on the flat part of the mount. So you've got a flat side here, the rest of the mount is curved, and this mount, this hole for the bolt that holds it to the upper part of the car, this is going to be facing outwards towards the outside of the car. So this is the side the wheel's on, this is the inside, this would be the side where the engine is. Okay, so if that gives you a reference. Now if we look over here on this strut, I've got this one seated and ready. So you can see this is the back of the strut that'll be towards the engine. So there's your 2 tabs. Now I can move this bearing. This is a bearing. I can move this back and forth, which is supposed to do that because when you turn the wheel, this bearing turns with it. But anyways, but your first initial assembly, just make sure everything's lined up. Let me push this bearing back over here. There we go. So anyways, you get the point. So hole, 2 notches, tab, all in a line. Now the way I did it, if you look, sneak around this side, here's the front part of the strut. So there's your mounting tabs, okay? Mounting tabs are facing towards me this way, okay? So this way is going to be the back of the strut. If I look up, hang on, I gotta spin this thing. Anyways, I screwed with the bearing. Anyways, this hole right here, this threaded hole on the round part, needs to be directly in line with the center of those mounting tabs. Okay, so when you first set this up, line this hole up with the center of those 2 tabs in the front, and then that will give you center in the back here looking down, because it's hard to align the strut mount with the back of the assembly. It's easier to first off set your tabs together in the back, and then align this mount with the 2 mounting tabs on the bottom, and then tighten everything down. Okay, now like I said before, once the spring's tight, you should be able to turn this plate back and forth, okay, because that's what your steering wheel is going to do to the strut. Your steering wheel is going to make this turn back and forth. Okay, so I can move this now, but the point is when I first took the tension off the spring and I tightened this down, the bearing, which is what this cushion rides on, the bearing in this cushion, if you look in the back, sorry, we're going to go upside down, the plastic tab here has to line up with those 2 notches, and then center the top of the mount with the bottom tabs down there, and then tighten it all down. Once it's all tight and you've got it lined up when the spring's tight, you can move this back and forth, okay? The most important thing is that you aligned the bearing in this cushion in location to the spring. Now your bottom spring is easy. Okay, let me turn this around this way. If you look, the end of the coil spring right there where it's cut, that lines up directly against that bump in the rubber cushion on the spring perch. Okay, so you can't mess that up. Now for some reason on these Steeda springs, let me find it, it's upside down, but whatever, you're not going to really see it anyways. So this is the way I put them together, and that's the way you're supposed to align that strut mount. The instructions that Steeda gave us really can be confusing if this is your first time taking struts off. But I'm going to make a couple videos in this. I'm going to show you how I do the rear springs versus how Steeda tells you to do them. So stay tuned, I'll make another video.